So this is going to be the ultimate beginner Genshin Impact guide. Whether you just started playing Genshin or you're a player that played a long time ago and needs a refresher, this is the video for you. I'm gonna go over every little piece of terminology, the items, the currencies, the map, you name it, so that you can get started on the right foot. I actually made a guide like this almost 4 years ago to the date, but since then, a lot has changed and been added for the better. Genshin is improving lately at an extremely fast rate compared to some previous years, and honestly, the game is the best it has ever been. So I've been wanting to update this guide for a while for all the new players to come. And so without further ado, let's get started. So the main gameplay of Genshin Impact is all about going on a big grand adventure, doing the story, going through all the beautiful regions, and of course, leveling up your characters. So the first thing that we should start with is our adventure rank. So here in the pause menu, you can see your adventure rank. Mine here is level 60. This is effectively your level as the player or your account level, right? And as that level goes up, your world level goes up. The higher your world level is, the stronger and more powerful the monsters in the world are going to be, and bosses and stuff like that, but also you're gonna get better and more rare rewards. Your adventure rank goes up in tons of different ways, like doing quests or your daily quests, as shown by this symbol here, spending resin, opening up treasure chests, and a few other things like leveling up the statues of the seven. Now don't worry, I'm sure a few of the things I just said right now may have confused you because you don't know what they are. I will be going over everything, I promise, in this guide. So every 5 levels after AR 20 will raise your world level. And once again, the higher the world level is, the harder the monsters, but the better rewards you're going to get. You want these better rewards so that you can level up your characters faster and make them stronger. There are certain important quests and events that are locked behind getting your adventure rank level up, but it's not to worry because your adventure rank level is going to go up all the time just by playing the game. You'll also get rewards from the Adventurers Guild every single time you raise your adventure rank. So right here, claim adventure rank rewards and you get some good stuff. This is one of the many Adventurers Guilds here in Teyvat, the world of Genshin. There is an Adventurers Guild in every single one of the major regions, and you can do a lot of useful things here, like claiming your daily commission rewards, which is a great time to segue into quests. So open up your menu wheel here, and the quest tab is the one right here with the little exclamation mark banner. So quests give you rewards like adventure rank EXP, which we just went over, Mora, which is the money of the game, and experience books, which are needed to level up your characters. There's also tabs that you can use to, filter through which kinds of quests you're doing, but I'm gonna be honest, I usually sit on this one, which is just all of the quests. Now, speaking of important quests, these ones with the purple symbol right here are your daily commissions. These are huge. You are going to want to do these every single day because they give you a lot of great rewards, including Primo Gems, the premium currency of Genshin Impact that lets you get new characters, which I will talk about in great detail in just a little bit. Now, if you click on the quest, it'll start tracking it and it'll show you exactly where to go and what you are going to want to do. You can see in the top left that it says defeat all opponents. There are 2 of them, and you can even see the icon on the map right there. It's pretty far away, so I'm gonna teleport to it. All right, so there you go. As you can see, I beat the Harbingers, and now I have completed one of my 4 daily quests. So you can also track your daily commissions through the Adventurer's Handbook, which is this little book one in the wheel. And you can see right there near the top left that it says I've completed one of my 4 daily commissions. So the Adventurer's Handbook is super useful. It's got a lot of quests that you can do for a lot of EXP, but let's just focus on this page. It is showing the 3 daily commissions that I have to do left: Increasing Danger, Bullseye, and Moonlit Dash. But if you look near the bottom, you can also see that there are these 4 presents, and 2 of them are lit up. Let's see what happens if I click on claim. Okay, so I got some rewards. That's great. And as you can see, it says that I have now completed 3 out of my 4 daily commissions. Now, how does that work? So these little presents work on what's called encounter points. And long story short, you can do other things in Genshin Impact to complete your daily quests. Pretty much, if you go participate in a limited time event that's going on, you're gonna get some encounter points. If you run around and do some quests, if you run around and open up treasure chests, you're gonna get encounter points, and they will then count for your daily. So pretty much all this means is that you don't have to do those exact 4 quests with the purple diamond to get your dailies done. Sometimes you can just play the game, do other stuff, and it will count as doing your dailies. It pretty much just makes your dailies less tedious and more fun is a great thing. If you want to look at all the details of encounter points, you can click the little menu here. It's pretty long, it's pretty tedious, but I will say the easiest way to level up your encounter points or cash in on them is by spending resin. It's the gacha game, you know, stamina currency. We're gonna go over it very soon. So now, even if you've completed all of your daily quests through the present system, here you go, you can see 4 out of 4, you still have to go to any of the Catherines at an Adventurers Guild to claim your full daily commission rewards, like so. So back in the quest tab, the quest at the top with the gold border is called an Archon quest. That is Genshin's main overarching story. All right, I won't spoil anything about the story here, but I will say Fontaine is the best Archon quest. Now, you are going to want to do the Archon quest because it's going to unlock certain areas of the map. For example, you can't even unlock Inazuma until you do the Leeway Archon quest. So do it at your own pace, but just know it is going to progress your account further and unlock more regions for you to explore. Story quests focus on specific characters and their background story while giving some good rewards. And finally, we've got world quests, which can drop a lot of big lore for the world of Genshin Impact and even unlock areas as well. One of the final things I want to mention is in the Adventurer's Handbook, the Experience tab. This has a bunch of little missions all the way from chapter 1 to chapter 9. You can see that I'm at chapter 9, so I've beaten all these, but you guys are going to have all of them available to you, where you are going to get a bunch of awesome rewards. Mora, EXP, artifacts, and primo gems just for doing, you know, things that help you progress your account as an early player. So check the Adventurer's Handbook and do those quests. And the last thing I want to go over are achievements. Here in the menu, you can see there is an achievements tab right here. Click it and you're going to see all these different sections where there are achievements to complete. Trust me, you are going to complete a bunch of achievements just by playing, and you're going to get a little bit of primo gems. So you can come into here and, you know, accept those primo gems. And yeah, it's pretty much just a little fun thing, some fun goals. You're going to get primo gems by doing it. Good to know that it exists because primos are cool. So next, let's talk about resin. Now, Genshin Impact is a gacha game, and gacha games have two very important factors we have to consider. One is that obtaining characters and weapons are usually done through a random chance system through, you know, a currency, which is primo gems called the gacha. And two, there is a stamina system in play that limits just how far we can, you know, push our characters in a certain time. Because the game is free to play, they want us to take our time, and that is what resin is. Resin is just the nature of a free to play game like Genshin Impact, so you are going to get used to it. Now, you can find resin here on the map. It is in the top, it is those little moons where I have 144 of 200 resin. Now, you do not need resin to do a ton of things in Genshin. You can explore everything without resin. You can open up treasure chests, you can do quests, you can do stories, you can fight monsters, everything. You don't need resin to do any of that. But what you need resin to do is to get the materials needed to make your characters and weapons stronger and raise their level. So your resin regenerates once every 8 minutes. As you can see, I'm going to get one more resin in 5 minutes and 41 seconds. If this got all the way up to 200, I would then not be regenerating any more resin. I'd be at 200 to 200, which is called capping your resin. You pretty much never want to do that because if you spend your resin, then you are going to regenerate. If you're at max, you're not going to generate any more. It's just an efficiency thing. So you pretty much never want to cap on your resin. You want to use it. Now, besides time, there are two different ways to replenish your resin. The first is through fragile resin. This little moon right here that you see, I have 78 of them. You're going to get these moons through a lot of different things, through doing certain quests and exploration objectives in Genshin Impact. You're going to get them through the battle pass, and then sometimes the developers hand them out for free. And the other way is by using primo gems, which is the premium currency to get new characters. Once again, I'm going to go all over primo gems very soon, but I don't really advise using primo gems for resin unless you got it like that. And these little guys, transient resin, they are effectively the exact same thing as fragile resin. You just get them through other means in the game. I don't want to confuse you guys, but you're going to get some transient resin every once in a while, and they expire, so gotta use it. Now, like I said, resin can be used on a lot of things, like this, for example. This is a world boss, the Cryo Regisfon. You can see down here, this is what's going to happen when I beat this boss and I spend my resin on it. I'm going to get Mora, which is this gold coin. This is companionship EXP. It doesn't really do anything. It raises the friendship level of your character, getting some like voice lines, storylines, and then a name card for yourself. But this is the important one right here. This is a character level up material. There are certain characters in the game that need this Hoarfrost core to level themselves up and to ascend to higher levels for the character, right? So you have to come beat this boss and you have to spend resin on it if you want to level up those specific characters. Let's use my Kaveh as an example right here. So you can see that I need 4 of these quelled creepers for me to level up my Kaveh. So I'm going to go into item details. I'm going to click this. It's going to show me where this boss is. And now I'm going to go beat it and hopefully get enough drops. Alrighty, so I beat him. Yippee. I'm going to give 40 original resin and I got Mora, companionship EXP, artifacts, and then the most important one of all, the character level up material, the quelled creeper. I now own 4, and that means I can level up my Kaveh. As you can see, I now have all the materials needed to level up my Kaveh further. Your character's weapons are going to need materials that you have to spend resin on to level them up, and your character's talents are going to need materials that you need to spend resin on to level them up. I will click on this talent book here, and it will take me to this domain where I go into the domain, I beat it, and then I get some rewards. Here's me teleporting to it. Here's me going into it. I choose the difficulty, which you always want to choose the higher one, right? The whole world level thing, higher, better rewards. So I've killed all the monsters. I walk up to this tree at the end, up these stairs. I click claim rewards and I spend my resin. I get some stuff. Now there are also what we call ley lines on the map. There are Mora ley lines and EXP ley lines. You can see that this gold one right here is a Mora ley line. If I go to this spot, there's going to be a fight. I'm going to kill some little monsters and I'm going to get some Mora. And then same with the other one. I go over to the blue one. I beat the monsters. I'm going to get EXP books. So here's that blue EXP cloud. We talk to it. We're going to kill these guys. There we go. The flower will grow from the ground and then I'll spend my resin, get some stuff. And finally, we have weekly bosses, or as the game calls them, trounce domains. Now, these are big story-related bosses that you can only beat and get their rewards once a week. The first 3 that you do in a week only cost 30 resin instead of 60, which is an absolute bargain. You are going to want to do these. As you can see, you get a lot of drops for beating these bosses, but the most important ones are these ones. These are character level up materials, or we call them weekly boss drops. Your characters need these materials to level up their talents from level 6 all the way to level 10. A character's talent is pretty much their skill, their ability, their ultimate, and it just raises how strong it is. It either makes it do more damage, or if they're a shield character, it makes the shield stronger, or if they heal, makes them heal even more. You get it. These are important materials needed to level up your character's abilities. As a super quick example, let's say I want to level up Jean's skill. You can see the materials that I need. This is a weekly boss drop, the same one that I was just on. I would click its details, I would click this, and it would tell me where to go, which is the one I just showed you. So that's a little intro to resin. You spend it to level up your character. So now that we've talked about what resin is and how and where to spend it, let's talk about the map. So here we are on the map. We already talked about domains like this one that helps you level up your characters, or a world boss like this, but let's talk about these little white things right here. These are teleport points. So once you've walked up to one of these and interacted with it, you're going to get adventure rank EXP, some primo gems, but you are going to permanently unlock the ability to teleport to this point. So now I'll go to this one, click on it, wait for a second, and then boom, we just teleport. All right, so funnily enough, this is what a teleport point looks like when you don't have it unlocked. You click it, you get the primos, you get the adventure rank EXP, and now I can permanently teleport to this spot. Now, these big blue ones you see on the map are the statues of the 7. They operate as a teleport point, but they also fully heal your team as well. So here is a statue of the 7 up close. Now, not only do they act like a teleport point and heal your party, but they permanently light up the entire map around the area of which you activated one. And they also do one other important thing. When you talk to them, you go through the menu, you can worship them, giving them these oculi things for some amazing rewards. My Mondstadt statue of the 7 is already maxed. So here I am in Natlan to show you guys the example. If I were to go collect these little things called Pyroculus, these are called oculi, okay? In Mondstadt, they're called Anemoculus, which is Anemo, the wind element. We're here in Natlan, it's Pyro, the pyro element, fire, Pyroculus, you guys get it, okay? You get all these rewards. Mora, a ton of Primo Gems, Sigils, Shrine Keys. I'll go over all these real quick. The Nalin Shrine of Depths keys allow you to unlock these certain little treasure rooms that give you a lot of cool stuff around Nalin. And then the Pyro Sigils. In every single region, you can collect these sigils and you can go spend them at a sigil shop. Effectively, it just incentivizes you to explore more, take these sigils somewhere, and get some awesome rewards. For example, the Natlin shop is right here. I just teleported to it, and I will show you guys all of the amazing rewards that I have already gotten. Tons of Mora, tons of EXP, Primo Gems, and a bunch of other fancy stuff that we're going to go over soon. And that final reward at the bottom is Stamina +8. Stamina is huge. You will raise your stamina by doing any of the Statue of Sevens around the world, okay? But that is the stamina bar that you see to the right of the character. It costs stamina to glide and run and climb up walls, so making that bar bigger is obviously going to be huge for beginner players. You want to cap that out as soon as you can. So there are puzzles galore around the map that may need specific elements or specific types of weapons to solve, but one of the most common ones is Seelies, these little blue spirits. Embarrassingly enough, I can't find any in my world anymore, so we're gonna use this clip that we found on YouTube. Shout outs to them. You pretty much follow a Seelie until it finds its little resting spot and reveals to you some treasure. And the biggest treasure of all is Primo Gems. So now it is time for us to talk about Primo Gems and the gacha. So I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, if this is your first time playing a gacha game, the gacha and all its little inner workings can be very confusing, but I am going to do my absolute best to explain everything in a fun and quick yet thorough way, because this stuff is really important. This is either your really scarce material of Primo Gems that you've been slowly grinding over time, or it's your real life money. If you're gonna skip ahead because maybe you already know this kind of stuff, then hey, at least like, comment, and subscribe before you do. So this is the wishing screen where you can spend your Primo Gems on a chance to get a brand new character or a brand new weapon. To do one single pull, it costs 160 Primo Gems, and to do a 10 pull, it costs 1600. The little four-sided diamond that you see at the top right of the screen is a Primo Gem. You are going to get very used to seeing them. As you can see, I have 28,116 of them, and to the right of that, I have 5 intertwined fates. These are effectively just a single pull, so the equivalent of 160 Primo Gems. You get them in multiple different kinds of ways, like doing the Archon quest. You can get some from the Battle Pass, and sometimes the developers just hand them out for, you know, no reason. The blue version you see here, however, is an Acquaint Fate, which only works on the standard banner. I'll get to that in a second. So how do you get Primo Gems? Well, you get them through a ton of different things, like doing your daily quest, or any kind of quest usually gives a couple Primo Gems. You can open up treasure chests, those give you Primo Gems. You can do the Battle Pass. You can do the late game modes. You can participate in in-game events. But the easiest way to immediately get Primo Gems is, of course, spending money. Genshin Impact is, of course, a free-to-play game, so yes, this is how Genshin Impact makes its money. I personally advocate for not spending much money in Genshin and, you know, most gacha games, because I personally think it is fun to save up my Primo Gems. I think it is fun to challenge myself and not just pay my way to the top with all these crazy broken characters. All right, but I know what I'm doing. I am going to talk about the entire shop and all the best buys if you are looking to grab, you know, some bonuses from Primo Gems. I'll go over that at the end of the section. So what you are looking at right now is a character banner. This is the Arlecchino banner. This is the Zhongli banner. This is the weapon banner, and this is the standard banner. So on these banners, you have a 0.6% chance to get a 5-star on a single pull. And then for a 4-star, you technically have a 5.1% chance to get one of them. So the longest you could possibly go without pulling a 5-star is 89 pulls. On the 90th pull, you will 100% guaranteed get a 5-star character. But this is ridiculously unlikely because the game has a soft pity system that kicks in at 75 pity. You will almost definitely get your 5-star between like 75 and 80 pulls. Unless you get really unlucky, you might go up to like 85. Now, of course, you could get ridiculously lucky and get that 5-star in like 1, 2, or 3 pulls, but chances are you're gonna have to go all the way up to 75 to get that 5-star. And now, that 5-star that you get is not guaranteed to be Arlecchino. Unfortunately, when you get that 5-star, there is a 50% chance that it is either Arlecchino or it is one of the standard banner characters shown right here. Now, the chances of getting Arlecchino or the standard banner character is a 50-50 50-50. Now, if I were to win the 50-50, that means I got Arlecchino. The next time I go in, it would be a 50% chance, right? But if I lost, if I got Chi-Chi or Jean instead of Arlecchino, it means the next 5-star that I get on this banner will 100% guaranteed be Arlecchino. If I wanted 7 Arlecchinos, I could get insanely lucky and get 7 Arlecchinos in a row, or I could get terribly unlucky and get Jean, then Arlecchino, then Chi-Chi, then Arlecchino, then Dia, then Arlecchino. You get it. Now, after you lose a 50-50, like I just said, you are guaranteed to get the character. You can use this to your advantage because the pity lasts on this banner forever, okay? This is the limited character banner. If I lost to Chi-Chi, the next 5-star I'm gonna get is the guaranteed one. But maybe I don't want Arlecchino. In 7 days, you can see at the bottom left, this banner is going to go away and we are going to get the Durin and Venti banner. If I were to pull on that banner until I got a 5-star, I would guaranteed get Durin or Venti, whichever banner I pulled on, because it remembers that loss that I got to Chi-Chi on this banner and it keeps that pity forever. So the pity for the limited time banners is shared. That means if I were, 60 pulls away from a 5-star on this banner, I did a 10 pull, I'm now 50 away. That means I am also 50 pulls away from getting Zhongli. If I were to switch to this banner, I do a 10 pull here, I'm now 40 pulls away. I switch to here, I'm 40 pulls away. Okay, these are effectively the same pity shared. If I were to get a 5-star here, it would reset this pity down to 0 as well. Now, this is very important though. The weapon banner has its own pity. If I were to do 50 pulls here, this one is still at 0. If I were to do 50 pulls here, this one is also at 0, or now they're both at 50, all right? It's a separate pity, and then also the standard banner has its own separate pity as well. Now you can count your pity, which is very important to know how close you are to your next 5-star. You can go into the history tab, and as you guys can see right here, I got Nefer, the limited time 5-star, 4 pulls ago. This means I am 4 pulls into pity. In about 71 pulls, I will, start to get that ramped up chance. And because Nefer is a limited character, I have a 50% chance to get whatever character I'm pulling for or lose to one of those standard characters. You can actually look at all the banners from here. So I will go to the weapon banner and let's count how far I am into pity here. As you can see here on the weapon banner, Azure Light was the last 5-star I got, and it's on the top of page 8. So I am 35 pulls into weapon banner pity. And on the standard banner, I am 66 pulls into pity. I am pretty darn close to getting a 5-star. One last thing about the weapon banner actually has 10 less soft pity than the character banner. So you're going to get a weapon on the weapon banner around 65 to 70 pulls instead of the character banner, which is around 75 to 80 pulls on average. So in every 10 pulls that you do, you're guaranteed to get at least 1 4-star. So the worst you could possibly do is a 10 pull where you get 9 3-stars, which are just weapons, and 1 4-star, which could be one of the characters you see here, one of the standard banner 4-star characters, or a standard 4-star weapon. I've been talking about the standard pool quite a lot, so you can click on details here, go over to list of items, and it will show you every single thing that is in the standard, pool, which is a ton of characters and a ton of 4-star weapons, as well as the 5-stars. So the 4-star characters you see on the right are the rate up 4-stars on this banner. Now, when you pull on this banner, the 4-star that you get, you're gonna get 1 in every 10 pulls at least, right? It is the same as the character. It has a 50% chance of being one of those 3 characters and a 50% chance of being one of the standard 4-star, weapons or characters, which means you cannot guaranteed get one of those specific 4-stars. You could do 100 pulls on this banner and you could get 5 Rosarias and 5 Yunjins without getting a single Lanyan. Please pull for 4-stars at your own risk. I hope you get the ones that you want, but there is no way to guarantee them. It is absolutely brutal. Now, the weapon banner has some funky things about it too, okay? When you get a 5-star, since there are 2 weapons on this banner, it is even less than a 50% chance to get the one you want. There is a 75% chance that it is one of the 2 banner weapons you see right here, with a 25% chance of it being a standard 5-star weapon. So at best, it is a 37.5% chance to get the weapon that you actually want. But there is this thing called the fate point system. So right here, you can see that I have charted a course towards the crimson, whatever this cool scythe weapon is, okay? I've charted a path towards it, which means if I were to get a 5-star and I do not get this weapon, that would light up. It would go to 1 of 1, and the next 5-star weapon I would get would be guaranteed to be this weapon. So it's sort of like the pity of losing 50-50 and then guaranteed getting the weapon. But this is the most important thing, is that fate point, when it's filled up and it says 1 of 1 in the bottom left, does not carry over the next time this banner ends. So please, I recommend you only pull on the weapon banner if you want both of the weapon banner weapons that are on there. If you're cool with getting any weapon, including a standard banner weapon, or you have enough primo gems to go in, potentially lose, and then go all the way up again and bring home the weapon that you want. All right, so I think that is pretty much everything you guys are gonna need to know about the gacha. So next, let's talk about the shop, which is not just real life money. There is a lot of good free-to-play yummies in there that we're gonna wanna talk about. So the first thing it shows you in the shop is the $5 pass, which is called the Welcome Moon. It lasts for 30 days, and it pretty much gives you 90 primo gems a day, and then 300 Genesis crystals immediately. What are Genesis crystals? It is effectively primo gems. You can convert Genesis crystals into primo gems 1-to-1. Why do they exist? It's probably to either 1, confuse you, or some legal workaround. Yeah, Genesis crystals, they are primo gems. Anyway, the Welcome Moon is easily the most cost-efficient way to get primo gems for money. It's $4.99 for 3,000 primo gems. It's great. So if you are enjoying Genshin Impact, you want to throw some money at it, you want to support the game, and you want to, get more materials because you're having fun, the Welcome Moon is an excellent buy. Here in the crystal top-ups page is where you can just directly buy Genesis crystals, or once again, primo gems. The first time that you buy one of these packs in a year, you are going to get a top-up bonus, and this bonus resets at the anniversary, which is late September. Obviously, the more that you spend, the better rate you are going to get. But guys, we just went over the gacha rates, and you can do the math. It's pretty darn expensive to get a 5-star, so buy at your own risk. Now, Paimon's Bargains, however, is the savior of the shop. This is where the free-to-play players can even get some good stuff. So we are first on the Masterless Star Glitter page, which, how do you get Masterless Star Glitter? You get some every single time you pull a 4-star, 5-star, or weapon that's a 4-star or 5-star that you already have. You're going to get some Masterless Star Glitter. As you can see, I have 182, and you can buy some amazing things. You can buy more pulls, so Intertwined Fates, which is a great option, or you can buy these characters that change every single time the shop resets, which is every month. So even if you are the most unlucky person ever on the gacha, if you just do pulls every once in a while and you save, you can get some of the best characters in the entire game, like Bennett right here, Xingqiu, or Fischl. You just gotta save. Paimon's Bargains rules. Also, here's the table for the Paimon's Bargains character rotation for every month, so plan accordingly. The next tab is the Stardust Exchange. Stardust is even easier to get. You get 15 Stardust every time you pull a 3-star. So if you go all the way to the bottom, you should always be buying every single month the 5 Intertwined Face for 7-star glitter and the 5 Acquaint Face for 75-star glitter each. Okay, this is an absolute bargain. And then in here, honestly, I would buy the Mora if you really need it. The Adventurers books are pretty good, and the Dust of Azoth is also great. This lets you turn character enhancement materials like Dendro crystals into Pyro crystals, for example, which is probably going to come into play at some point. So yeah, I would buy those, and then everything else here you can just farm on the map. So like if you're giga lazy turbo rich, I mean, I can't stop you, but I don't recommend buying anything but the Mora, EXP, Dust, and the Pulse. The gift shop here is literally just for whales who have too much money that they don't know what to do with it. I don't even recommend looking at this. But then finally, there is the character outfits. Now, character outfits can only be bought with Genesis crystals. So this is effectively, you can only buy these skins. But if you're smart and you're buying the $5 Welcome Moon, you get 300 Genesis crystals every time, right? So after enough time, you could effectively bring home a skin for free just by buying the Welcome Moon. So, think smart. Now let's talk about the Battle Pass, which is this symbol right here on the wheel. And so this first row, the first one at the top, is available completely for free. And how you get all these rewards is by doing any of these daily, weekly, or entire patch duration rewards. You can see that you will get some of this BEP, which is probably Battle Pass experience points or something like that. But yeah, it fills this up and you get all these rewards. As you can see, you get Mora, which is fantastic. Artifact EXP, which is great. Character EXP and Fragile Resin. You get a lot of great things for free. But why I'm bringing this up is you can buy the upgraded Battle Pass, which as you can see, I have bought. It is the bottom row. So you will get all the rewards at the top in addition to all these ones at the bottom, which gives a lot of amazing stuff. It gives some pulls. You can see intertwined fates. It gives talent books. It gives a really good weapon at rank 30 right here, which you can choose every single month. But yeah, so the long and short of it is, if you want to spend some money on Genshin, the $5 Welcome Moon Pass is absolutely amazing, and the $10 upgraded Battle Pass is also extremely valuable. You get a ton of amazing resources, a great bang for your buck. So yeah, that was the gacha and the shop. I am sorry for making a master's thesis on all of these things, but it's very important. I care about your guys' mind, and I care about your wallet. So all of that talk about the gacha, the shops, exploring the world, spending your resin, it is all for one thing. If you really think about it, it is our characters. So let's talk about it. So this is the character screen where you can see the character element. It is at the top left, or you can just look at the background. Okay, it's green. He's a Dendro character. You can see their level, which you can see my Kaveh is level 40 out of 50, and you can see his stats as well. Now, if I want to get my Kaveh to level 50, I'm going to click level up, and then I'm going to have to give him some EXP books. It is going to cost those EXP books that you can see down there, and as well as the Mora you can see at the bottom. So let's level him up. There you go. Now he's level 50. Now, if I wanted to get my Kaveh to level 60, I'm going to have to ascend him. As you can see, those are all the required materials at the bottom. These are character ascension materials. You're going to get these through dailies. You're going to get these through beating world bosses, beating trounce domains, all that kind of stuff of Dendro enemies usually. Now, this guy, this is a boss, a world boss, which we actually beat earlier in the video. You can see I can teleport to him, the Dendro hypostasis. I'm going to get some stuff, but most importantly, this drop that Kaveh needs. Now, the next drop is what we call a local specialty. This is just in Sumeru. This is a flower that's just growing in the world. You can run around, explore, and grab them absolutely for free. No resin required. And then this last one is a character and weapon enhancement material. Pretty much these are dropped by mushroom enemies in Sumeru, which is once again free to play. These mushrooms come in the thousands. You just got to go run around and kill them. So it's 2 drops that usually cost resin. This one sometimes does. This one always does. And then these 2 can be farmed on the map. So by spending all of them, I can ascend Kaveh, and now he can go up to level 60. Now, leveling up a character is very important, okay? As you can see, it raises their base HP, their base attack, their base defense. Now, if my editor can go back and show it, when I ascended Kaveh, it also raised his elemental mastery. That is Kaveh's ascension stat. Every character has a different ascension stat, okay? Kaveh's, for example, is elemental mastery, while Furina's is crit rate, okay? All different, all good stats. Also, sometimes when you ascend your character, you can come into here and get a reward because I went from, the 40 to 50 ascension. I get a free standard banner pull. Yippee. So the higher I ascend my character, the higher I can get my character's talents. Talents are effectively, they just make your character stronger, okay? This is Kaveh's normal attack. This is his skill, and this is his burst. If I were to level this up, you can see that the skill damage goes up, and the Dendro core burst damage, just one of the effects of his attack, it goes up permanently forever. And I have to get to certain ascension levels to continue to raise it. For example, this is like the Milliastra Wonderland little mannequin that you get, okay? Because mine is only level 20, I actually cannot raise my talents at all whatsoever. But if I go to one of my favorite characters, Kokomi's at level 90, you can see that I got my talent level all the way to 10. I am going to need to be at least the final ascension, which gets me to level 80 of 90. That's how I'm going to get to be able to raise my talent level to 10. The lower a talent level is, the less, materials it's going to take. As you can see, Kaveh's skill and his normal attack only cost 3 of these brown books, that's the lowest rarity, and 6 of these little mushroom drops. But if I were to go over to Lauma, a character that I have very high level, her skill is level 9, which means I'm going to try and get it to level 10, okay? She needs 16 gold talent books, the highest rarity, 12 of these drops, which are monsters. These are 2 weekly boss drops, those trounce domains, so, those bosses that we really want to beat to get these materials, and then 1 crown of insight. The crowns of insight, you are going to get these through a few exploration things on the map, through those sigil shops that I showed you, but then you're mostly going to get these through limited time events that happen every single patch. So you are going to effectively get an infinite amount of these crowns so long as you are playing Genshin Impact, but you're not gonna be able to get a ton off rip with a brand new account. So just keep that in mind. Don't get too worried about it because you're gonna eventually get so many crowns rounds that you don't know what to do with them. I have 25, and that is a crazy amount. I am never going to need to use it. Also, talent level 10 is not required. It's great and all, but it's, you know, not a make or break thing. I did just talk about characters' skills, their burst, and their normal attacks. Okay, here's Farina's normal attacks. Here's her skill, and here's her burst. I'm not going to go over the full inner deep mechanics of the combat of Genshin Impact because you're going to learn all these things just by playing the game. They have tutorials in the game that teach you and stuff like that. That's not what this video is about, but I do recommend going to this domain right here in Mondstadt. What it does is it has a little trial for you to do for every single elemental reaction in the game, I believe. Let me check. Okay, the trials are only for the older elemental reactions, but it's still a great way to learn about them, and you're going to get rewards like Mora, EXP books, etc., and it's going to teach you about reactions. But I actually have a video on reactions on the channel, so you guys should check that out if you're at all interested. Now, going down the list of a character, we have their weapon. So this is the weapon that Veressa is equipping, but you can see that weapons have levels as well. If I wanted to raise this sacrificial fragment up to its next level, I'm going to need these materials, which are weapon essential materials. You find them in domains. You can click this and it tells you where to go, right? This is a, monster that you can farm on the map. And this is also another monster that you can farm on the map. So the same as characters, you're going to need these materials and you're going to have to spend resin on these ones to level them up. To level up a weapon, they use different EXP than characters, okay? You can put other weapons into weapons as you can see here, but then there's also these purple things called Mystic Enhancement Ores, which you can farm on the map absolutely for free. I will show you that in just one second. So while you're on your merry journey, you're gonna run into some ores, okay? These black ones right here are kind of the lowest level ore right here, the iron chunk. These are the best ones, the crystal chunk, and then there's the middle tier one, the white iron chunk, and you can take these to a blacksmith. Now, there is a blacksmith in every single major town in Genshin. You can see it with this little blacksmith icon, in the town, but you walk up to them, you say, I'd like to have something made, and then you pretty much ask to turn these crystals into Mystic Enhancement Ores. As you can see, it takes some time, but I'll eventually come back, and then I will have this Mystic Enhancement Ore weapon EXP absolutely for free. The only thing it costs is a little bit more. Now, if you get duplicates of the same weapon, you are actually able to refine them. This is the Sacrificial Jade. If I were to put these 4 Sacrificial Jades into this one, it is going to increase the effects of what this weapon does. As you can see, the 32 goes to 64 and the 40 goes to 80, that blue text you see on the right of the description of the weapon. This would effectively be going from R1 to R5. I've actually always wanted to do this, so there you go. Now I have an R5 Sacrificial Jade. This weapon is now stronger, but it costed 4 copies of the same weapon. That's what you can do with duplicate weapons, refining. I should also mention that, these gold bordered things are 5-star weapons. The purple ones are 4 stars. The blue ones are going to be 3 stars, and then these ones down here are 1 stars. Okay, I don't have very many 1 or 2 star weapons because I just get rid of them as EXP, right? But you're going to get 1 to 3 star weapons just by exploring. 4-star weapons, you can sometimes get them through quests and events, but they're mostly going to be from the gacha, and then the 5-star weapons are going to be purely from the gacha. Now, artifacts are the gearing system of Genshin Impact. I'm not going to go into huge detail because they can get pretty complicated, but just know that these artifacts massively increase the stats of your characters, okay? You're not going to be farming them until you are a way higher adventure rank, but they make an insane difference on the stats of your characters. Like you can see on the right that if I'm holding 2 of the same piece, I get plunge attack bonus by 25%. And if I have 4, I get that big bonus effect on Veressa here. Okay, so artifacts are crazy valuable, and I actually have a video on them that you can watch too, but I'm not going to go into super detail right now. Next up is constellations, which is the duplicates of your character. So a weapon can be refined, which just raises that blue text stat, okay? But constellations on your characters turn into bonus effects. So I have this completely unique bonus effect on my Veressa, but I don't have any of these other ones because I've only gotten 1 Veressa. This is what you do with duplicates of characters. This is Inyan, a 4-star character, okay? Getting constellations on your 4 stars is gonna be way easier than 5 stars, okay? By pulling on a banner, you're going to have repeated chances of getting the 4-star rate up character, but then the 4-star characters are also in the standard pool. So when you're on the standard banner, or you don't get a rate up character on a banner, a 4-star, it could be a character like this. So you're gonna accumulate constellations on your 4-star characters pretty, fast. But for the 5-star characters, let's take Nefer, for example, who just came out, getting her constellations is extremely expensive, okay? Getting 1 5-star costs a ton of primo gems and a ton of pulls. So to get 1 more Nefer, 2 more nefers. 3 more nefers is insanely expensive. So as you can guess, the constellations for the 5 stars are way more insane than the 4 stars. All right, they want you to spend the big bucks. Okay, but you know, maybe just by saving, you can get a constellation 1 or a constellation 2 for your character, or even their signature weapon. It's very cool, but yeah. 5-star constellations are extremely powerful. Now, this goes for both 4 and 5-star characters, but the 3rd constellation and the 5th constellation of a character raise one of their talent levels is maxed by 3. That's why you can see, okay, Chiari, I've got her C6, she's my favorite character. You can see that her skill and her burst are actually level 13. The only way that that is possible is because I have her constellation 3 and I have her constellation 5. So finally, even though this is a beginner guide, I think we should talk about the end game modes of Genshin Impact. So you know what to look forward to, what you're raising up your characters to high heights is for. Okay, it is for these endgame modes, and the first one we're going to talk about is the Spiral Abyss. So this is the Spiral Abyss, and I think it is the most important for beginners because it's the easiest to do to get amazing rewards, and to be honest, it's the classic Genshin endgame mode. Okay, there are a total of 12 different floors. The other 4 are on the other side. I'll show you guys in a second, but if you beat each of these floors, you can then move on to the next one, and you are going to get rewards for completing these floors, and they're going to get harder. The enemies are going to, you know, raise in level, etc. So up to chamber 4, you actually only need 4 different characters to go in and beat it, right? But starting at floor 5, you are going to actually need 2 separate teams. So 8 characters total, and that goes all the way up to floor 12. It is standard to have at least 8 characters built up to beat the best, you know, the hardest thing. To unlock floors 9 through 12, you have to beat floors 1 through 8. And you're gonna wanna beat these floors because when you beat floor 3 for the first time, you get a free Xiangling. And when you beat floor 4 for the first time, you get a Kale. And you also get Primo Gems, Mora, lots of great stuff. But then over here is the Abyssal Moon Spire. These are the most hard challenges in Genshin Impact. And unlike the floors before them where you get rewards once and never again, these rewards actually reset every single 30 days. So it's what keeps players, you know, coming back and beating the Abyss monthly because those rewards reset. We want to come back here, get more Primo Gems. So for the hardest challenge in Genshin Impact, you are going to need 8 characters that are perfectly tailored to beat these floors, okay? Because these monsters that you have to fight here in Chamber 1, Chamber 2, and Chamber 3, they change when it resets every 30 days. So you're gonna have to have characters that are actually good against, you know, those enemies, right? That's what we're striving for, is to strive and make amazing teams to take this down. Once again, don't sweat these endgame modes too much, guys. You guys are going to, you know, most likely struggle with them and not gonna be able to beat the highest difficulties for a while, but that's what it's all about, progression. The next endgame mode is located in Mondstadt right here. It is called Imaginarium Theater. You come up to this little book after you do the quest, and then you are able to play Imaginarium Theater. By the way, I'm not going to go into these next 2 game modes in super deep detail because as you guys get better at the game, you try out the Abyss, you guys, you know, just go on your adventure. You're going to be able to parse these, you know, events by yourselves. But pretty much, Imaginarium Theater is easier than the Abyss, I will say, but it is a challenge in a different way. While the Abyss, you only need 8 perfect characters in a perfect world to beat the final floor. In Imaginarium Theater, you need at least 22 different characters completely leveled up to even be able to go into the hardest difficulty mode. Okay, so obviously Imaginary Theater is a character check. The game wants you to level up and spend your resources on lots of different characters so that you can eventually take on the Imaginary Theater. Okay, but cost more characters, monsters are easier. This is Imaginary Theater. And finally, right here in Leeway is our newest endgame mode that we actually got pretty recently called Stygian Onslaught. Now, Stygian Onslaught, I can confidently say, is harder than the Abyss. This is the hardest game mode that Genshin has to offer. Now, there is one key difference in Stygian Onslaught from the Abyss. There's a couple other ones, but the biggest one is this, that you need 3 different completely built out teams to take on Stygian Onslaught. So you need 12 unbelievably powerful characters that are able to beat these crazy boss fights that you get to do. Now, when you beat this, you know, you do get amazing rewards and stuff like that, but Stygian Onslaught is truly the biggest late game challenge of Genshin Impact. So just know it's gonna take you a while to get here and it might kick your ass the first time you do it. So don't get too down. So that is my new Genshin Impact beginner guide, modernized for 2025, 2026 and beyond, baby. Okay, Genshin has been stepping it up and making the game the best it has ever been. So hopefully there are a lot of new players coming in like you, and that this video was helpful, okay? I have played way too much of this game, and I would be remiss if I did not share my arcane knowledge that I have gained over playing this game for like 5 years. Anywho, I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, let me know by subscribing to the channel. It would make a very big difference, okay? Drop a like and a comment down below. If I missed anything, if you have a question you want to ask a bunch of Genshin dweebs, how about you ask down below in the comments? You can even join my Discord. Our community is very friendly to beginners. I would love to have you there, but yeah. Guys, subscribe to the channel. I'm doing crazy Genshin challenges all the time. I'm beating the end game content that we just went over with 4 stars only. That's like my favorite thing to do. But yeah, if you guys are at all interested, check out. I don't even know what I'm saying. Sub to the channel. All right. Oh, shout outs to my patrons. I always shout them out. My goats. I will see you guys next time. Peace.